What up guys, Jetchels here and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today I've got some completely opposing games to show you here, two games in today's video. The first one is not going to last very long due to some poor positioning and micro play by the enemy team and some just a solid teamwork by our team. For Siegfried line, I am not crazy about this map. It was kind of rough to play the western half of this map, aka the field, before they changed it way back when. I don't remember which patch it was. But they changed the elevation and sloping angles of all these hills, and they removed a decent amount of the soft cover. The goal was to actually make it better as far as progression from point to point to point. But actually, in my opinion, it made it worse, because if you see how the field layout is concerned here, the ground slopes down from the 6 line into this area here, this ditch right here, and of course because of this middle road, the enemy team also has their ditch on the opposite side of this road. But it's very, very difficult to progress beyond this point if the enemy team have any tanks sitting in that bunker in G2. But fortunately for us, they don't, so we're able to cross for free. And this is why you need to send at least a couple of defenders into the field. Got some nice side shots here on the VK-4503, the new Tier 7 German heavy tank there. We get spotted by the Egg Panther here, but fortunately, since the enemy team didn't send anyone up here, I can use this bunker as cover. And because of the 4 tanks that we have out here in the field, I feel like I need to be more aggressive here. And this is what controlling the field gives you here. You get side shots into the tanks that are sitting along that 6 line road there on the very outer edge of the city. I was gonna go for the VK-45023, but the Borsig is a more dangerous target. Same thing with the 704. Have a sliver of a shot and somehow magically hit it. The magical Chinese accuracy doesn't fail me there. The Mutz has run away trying to get into cover, so we just take the snapshot because he was going to go into cover anyway. So we roll the dice, and once again, the magical Chinese accuracy does not let us down. And now the score is 7-0. I hear a lot of times when there's an extremely lopsided win or loss, that always people seem to automatically blame, they blame Matchmaker, they blame RNG, they blame Arty, and those things do have a very large influence on the outcome of the battle sometimes. But like I've said in some previous videos, nothing has a greater influence on the outcome of the battle than the personal player choices. So the more good decisions that you can make and add them all up during the game, and the same thing with your teammates, the greater the margin of victory will be. And now the score is 12-0. And it's at this point in these kinds of games that you're like, the only thing bad can happen is if you're the only one that dies. So you don't want that label of shame and be embarrassed about being the only one that dies. At least, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm pretty competitive, so I don't want that to happen in a game like this. So I'm trying to stay safe from getting shotgunned by Arty. I have all my HP, so I can afford to get shot by the T-34. And because we have such a huge number of guns compared to what's left, all the remaining enemy tanks are getting volleyed down. We spot the GW Tiger there. and we're going to try and sneak in the kill shot there, and we managed to do it amazingly, considering all the guns that were bearing down on him. It looks like he was kind of in a depression there. That's why they didn't have a shot. Anyway, yeah. So 15-0. You don't see games like this every day. And I just wanted to show you guys this game, just because it just shows you how powerful making the small decisions, side scraping if you have good side armor, and out trading enemy tanks that way. Utilizing multiple angles of attack, either from range, like we were in the field there with the other WZ-131 with me, who I have to give a shout out to, by the way. Def Army, he also played a really good game. He got the exact same amount of XP as I did, actually, as you'll see in score sheets, which is kind of unusual. But yeah, so utilizing the second angles of attack from the field, we were able to, because the enemy didn't send anyone there, we were able to shoot into the 6th line for free. So not only were the enemy tanks getting shot at from the front, they were getting shot at from the side. And looking at the mini-map during the course of the battle, it looked like basically the same thing happened there. The enemy tanks either isolated themselves and were getting shot from multiple directions, or our team were just making better single decisions about timing, when to poke around corners and to take their shots and stuff. All those little decisions add up to results like this. Obviously, you won't see a 15-0 game all the time, but winning 15-5 or something like that generally happens because of better choices overall from you and your team. But the next game I'm going to show you guys is not this large of a margin of victory by far. So let's jump into the next game. Alright, so here is the second game I'm going to show you guys today, and it is not going to be nearly a lopsided game as the last one was. It's played on Cliff, and let's just get started. I quite like Cliff as a map overall. Obviously, there's not a lot of opportunity for long distance vision, at least early. But I kind of like it the same way that I like Himmelsdorf. Even though it's kind of a close quarters map, the engagement angles are more or less symmetrical, and there's some really good crossfire potential on this map. So me being a tier 7 scout in a as high a tier matchmaking in a game like this, I need to have a really large influence on this battle to help my team win. And quite honestly, if I don't have a large impact on it, unless I get one shot by Artie or something, I have no one to blame but myself. The matchmaker threw me a bone here, and I need to make the most of it and help my team win. Take a quick peek up there to spot the enemy dispersion there into the middle 5-6 line and the 8-9 lines. I did not get spotted. The key there was my approach up to the lighthouse here. I did not get spotted. If I had gotten spotted driving up the ramp, I probably would not have peeked up there on the top, because they would have seen me going there and expected me. First shot goes high. I was aiming for the side of the hull, but clips the very edge of the Mod 1's turret and bounces, unfortunately. I'm being really careful about Artie here. Second shot does hit the side of the 54 Mod 1's hull, but the shot goes slightly low and only clips the edge of his tracks. There's a M4043 on the enemy team and a FV304. The FV304 I'm especially worried about because I'm pretty sure he already took a shot at the E25 here that's up here with me. You always need to be, what really helps you in making decisions in battles is not only paying attention to how the enemy team is reacting to you, pay attention to how your teammates are taking damage, and you'll be able to infer which tanks are where if your teammates are taking damage, even if the enemy tanks aren't spotted. Finally are able to pen the mod 1 there and get a couple sneaky shots into him, and we're starting to nibble away at the enemy team's HP here. Once again, really paranoid about Artie here, and I don't want to get one shot, so just peeking out for a couple shots here and there, and then getting back into cover. I see our Centurion is in really big trouble there. He's gonna die. There's no avoiding it. But I can take the opportunity that the enemy tanks are not looking at me. Always take opportunities like this. Unfortunately, I didn't think that the I-6 was looking at me, but because he was sitting behind the rock there, but he was. And so when I was in sniper view aiming for the back of the IS-3, I didn't see that he poked around the rock and to shoot me. A little trick there that you can do with shooting at targets from range, if you see that they're to increase the likelihood that you're going to hit your shot on a moving target at range, if you see that they're about to change the direction that they drive, just hold your shot for a little bit, and you see that they're turning around, and their traverse on you will be at 0 for a couple seconds while they're turning, like that. So if they're not turning, it's a lot easier to hit them. The I-6 fires and takes out our E25, so he's on a reload, so I can dip down and take another shot at him without worrying about him shooting me. Fortunately, our team are doing really poorly here. Our 8s that were on the 8-9 lines just got smoked. And unfortunately now I'm in a bit of a pickle here. The positioning that you take on maps, of course you want to be as flexible as possible in relocating to different positions that are more relevant or whatever. But sometimes during the course of a battle, that was kind of a poor shot there, didn't lead the Bulldog well enough. Sometimes during the course of the battle, your positioning is kind of more or less static, and this is kind of also an opposite of the last game here. The last game I was pretty mobile, relocating to get the damage and get the kills. This game, just react to the circumstances of the battle. If you can help your teammates out and you're getting shots and you're getting damage, then there's no reason to move, unless of course you need to help share some of your HP with your teammates. Of course, that's always something you need to consider. Now I'm in really big trouble. I get really lucky that I bounce a shot there. I know that my reload is better than the Tiger's, not by a lot, but it is. I'm forced to stay up here. I can't leave the top of the hill, unfortunately, because then I would get started to get shot at from down below. So I'd rather take these engagements than getting shot at by multiple tanks down below. So fortunately, we were able to fight off the Tiger that came up to engage us. And right now the Bulldog made a really bad decision. He's hanging out on the side of the hill where my snipers are. If you look down, all those tank destroyers there on the southwest corner of the map, because, you know, cliff, if you're a tank destroyer, people automatically assume that you should be there 100% of the time, which is kind of annoying sometimes. Go for the kill shot on the 85. When you're behind in games like this by quite a few tanks, you need to start eliminating guns as quickly as possible. Not really changing your mindset on as far as focused fire and taking good shots of opportunity, as you should be doing that during the entire course of the battle, but just making more of an effort and focus to do that. And once again, the only way that the enemy team can advance is either through the 1-2 lines, the middle, and the 890 lines. So if they're going to push my tank destroyers, I'm in the perfect position here to help defend and help my tank destroyers out, despite their poor positioning. I almost make a... well, I do make a really bad mistake here, but fortunately I get away with it. Sitting here on this ramp is a really bad idea. Missed that last shot because I'm lazy and I'm auto-aiming at 540 meters, which is really dumb. But being on that ramp was really stupid. The IS-6 down below me there on the 9 line, last spotted in G9, could have driven around that corner at any point and shot me. But I was able to put in a few shots into those Cromwells and help nibble down their HP and help my tank destroyers kill them there. And so now we're actually up on tanks, but the enemy team have a decent amount of alpha potential and burst potential, with the T-69 it being a 4-shot autoloader. And so right now I am fighting the IS-6 through my vision here. He cannot advance as long as I'm sitting here on top of the hill, and because of that, I don't want to give away my nice position here, so I'm just staying safe from the enemy artillery here, and me constantly peeking up here to see whenever he tries to retreat or peek or advance. My team will know it, my tank destroyers will see it, and hopefully Artie will. I'll take advantage of that as well. I think the artillery already put 1 or 2 shots into him. So right now I'm trying to find the T-69. I did not spot him. I think one of the 2 tank destroyers on my team there spotted him. Made bad situational awareness there. I thought I was low enough on the ridge there to not get shot by the IS-6, but obviously since I spotted him, he had a shot on my turret. Got unfortunate there with the first shot on the T-69 that we rolled low. It seems like I always notice whenever an enemy tank is a one-shot that my shots roll low. Of course, that's perceptual bias because your shots roll low and roll high and average, regardless if the enemy tank is a one-shot or not. You just happen to notice it when they're a one-shot. So right now we have all the advantage right here. Unfortunately, because I took that last shot from the IS-6, I cannot just take another shot from him to get the kill, because obviously now I'm a one-shot. I could have made 1 of 2 plays. This is the second one. I could have stayed up there and tried to keep spotting the IS-6 for our artillery. But I decide, well, the IS-6 is probably going to continue to play as conservatively as he has in that position, considering how low health he is. So I'm going to go try and find the enemy artillery right now. My team's trying to help me out and ping where they think the enemy artillery is. I'm pretty familiar with there's only a few spots on cliff that already normally sit. A6, A4, and A1 and A2. That's where they almost always sit. So right now, if I can take the Artie out of the game here, I can eliminate the vertical threat and give my team the advantage. I could have popped up there and taken the snapshot, but I was a little bit hesitant, and then that half second that I waited to decide whether to shoot or not, the Artie was able to turn, and it's pretty unlikely that he would have hit that shot. But too many times I've gotten snapshotted by Artie, and I did not want this to be one of those games. I didn't want him to turn and auto aim on me and just snapshot me. Loading heat for the IS-6 just because my AP rounds are not good enough to go through the front of an IS-6. Switch back to AP for the Howdy. Unfortunately, roll low there on my first shot, so that means I'm not gonna kill him with 2 shots. But we're able to nibble a couple of shots worth of HP out of him. I'm a little bit irritated with the Borsig there. You see me pinging on the mini map that the Borsig was taking way too long to move into position here, and now I'm trying to encourage him to push quickly in here before the enemy artillery reloads, because the enemy artillery can still potentially win this game. But fortunately, the Borsig pushes the initiative and takes out the Howdy for me. So not a perfectly played game, but as far as me taking the peaks here and there, I got shot by the I-6 twice, which really limited my options at the end because I ran out of HP. It's 1 or 2 decisions like that affects your options at the end of games as far as how much HP you have. If you don't have a lot of HP to play with because of me not paying attention or whatever, you are kind of forced to go into a defensive mode or a very conservative mode. So that's a really good example of how to why you need to try and make good trades, take shots that are excuse me, take shots that are high percentage of penning, angle your armor well, position yourself well to minimize the amount of risk that the enemy can shoot back at you, maximize your firing angles so that if you can shoot at them from one direction, your teammates can shoot at them from another direction. So it's more likely that you or your teammate will be more fully aimed on their shots than the enemy tanks, because the enemy tanks have to look at 2 different directions, and they will be less fully aimed, or they'll be fully aimed less often. So fortunately, we were, like I said at the beginning of this game, able to have a really high influence on the outcome of this battle. But once again, being a tier 7 scout in a tier 8 game, but not even a fully tier 8 game at that, we have an obligation. You have an obligation as a scout when the higher the tier you are, not only to influence the battle through your vision, but also through your offensive firepower. A lot of times people get into certain like general rule mindsets where I'm a scout, I must spot things, or I'm a pretty good damage dealer, let's always do damage. There is no always spot or always do damage rules. The rule is do whatever the situation requires you to do to the best of your ability and to the best of your tank's ability to try and win the game. And beyond that, it's down to RNG and the skill of the enemy players as well. So hope you guys enjoyed watching these 2 games today. Good luck out there and happy hunting.